All right, we're back for the first time in a long time with another Hammond collection video. This time I managed to find myself a Concavenator. Hot tip for those of you looking for uh, more recent releases. I found this guy at Best Buy. So if you're looking to pick these up, check your local Best Buy. From what I could see on their website, they have Concavenator and then small figures. The Pachycephalosaurus and JP3 Raptor are both listed there, although I could not find them in the two stores I checked. So I'm not sure if they're actually out yet or if that's a listing for the future, but definitely something to keep your eye on because Target doesn't seem to know what the fuck they're doing with these figures. They're also available online at various retailers, but they're so inconsistent and hard to find. It's very obnoxious. I'm hoping since the Concavenator was the oldest of the larger figures that it's the first one to come out at like Best Buy, and then we'll see the Anki and Geosternbergia there soon. I hope it'd be nice, but I don't hold any real hope for that, unfortunately. Um, so yeah, let's get into this guy. So the Concavenator, it's interesting because this is really the first Hammond collection figure we've got that's not a living animal in the film. And that's weird. Because, like, why make this large theropod into a figure before they've done, like, Carnotaurus, Allosaurus, unless they want those ones to be very large figures. Like, on more on the scale of the Rex and less on the scale of the Ceratosaurus. I mean, that could be their logic. I'm not really sure. The motivation for the Concavenator, you can actually see it here on the back of the box. It's supposed to be the Lockwood statue, which is an interesting choice. Obviously, the Geosternbergia figure we have coming is the Lost World concept art / maquette for the Pteranodon. The one in the film has a more Pteranodon style crest than Geosternbergia style crest. And then, of course, we have the Irritator coming. Now, the Irritator, the original thought with that, everybody thought the Irritator was going to be based on the website Baryonyx art. But that turned out not to be true. And the Irritator is releasing alongside the Metriacanthosaurus, which everybody also thought was going to be based on the website concept art, which is also used in Jurassic World Evolution. And that appears to not be true. Both the Irritator and the Metriacanthosaurus have entirely new color schemes. My thought process is that two-piece release there, the Irritator and the Metri, were supposed to be based on the website art, and for some reason they decided they didn't want to use those color schemes, or they couldn't, or Universal maybe wouldn't let them, so they made their own color schemes up. I suspect when we see the figures, they'll have a little blurb on the back of the box about Jurassic World or about the website or something to motivate that Irritator figure, especially being the original film design for Baryonyx. It's not a film design, it's just promotional material. It's not canon as much as people like it. I like it too, but it's not canon. Promotional material is not canon. But that's not what this video is about. Let's get our Concavenator. So yeah. Let's see what we got here. So there was two of these guys available on the shelves, and I picked the one that I thought looked marginally better in terms of the eye socket. Very, very marginal. So this is what we got here in the packaging. No accessories. He's got a tail that's just needs to be connected up. Pretty standard stuff for these figures. Let me release him from his bonds. We can take a closer look at him. Now, I already mentioned this guy is based on the Lockwood Manor Concavenator, and that always threw me because I always thought the Lockwood Manor Concavenator was green. It looks green in a lot of pictures, but this guy's blue. So what's up with that? Now, I have a few pieces of evidence in the form of pictures that we can look at. And we can try to decide if the color scheme makes any sense. Now, regardless of the validity of the color scheme in terms of what's seen in Fallen Kingdom, it is a nice looking figure and a nice color scheme. If I can extract him from his bonds, jeez. He's with the sail. I guess it's not really a sail, more of a ridge, I guess. He's a little hard to extract. Ooh, he's got wrists. So that's a point right there. I believe we know from the Irritator Metriacanthosaurus that they don't have wrists. I believe I saw a discussion online that this was like a fairly unique feature of the Concavenator for some reason. That he actually can rotate his wrists, which is good because we can give him the hand clapping, more accurate, dinosaur wrist design instead of the bunny hands that have plagued the franchise up until Dominion. Now this fellow, I believe, is actually a Carcharodontosaurus, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere on the lineage of, Carcharodontosaurus, Giganotosaurus, Acrocanthosaurus, which makes sense given that he's got a back ridge. That's a very Acrocanthosaur thing. Also, apparently, entirely possible that Giga had some sort of back ornamentation as well. Very interesting. Never seen that discussed anywhere, but Wideow, Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong, covered that in their Giga video, which is pretty cool. Nice looking head. Very wide, but I don't know what a Concavenator skull actually looks like. So that's maybe not bad. Paint decals on the eyes look good. He's got kind of this more like metallic bronze on his face, but then like orange on the neck, which is really interesting. I'm not sure I like it because any kind of metallic paint deco on an animal looks unrealistic to me. But it's certainly a choice to make. I mean, it's something they can do. And then, yeah, we've got orange on the sail on the back that fades into brown on the underside and the base of the tail, which is not really featured elsewhere on the figure. The claws are painted. Toenails, fingernails. Dew claws are not painted. The dew claws are just modeled. Better than, of course, your basic mainline figures in that regard. Let's get the tail out here. Of course, Concavenator has that secondary fin on the tail. The tail is bendy, the wire, so that you can style it. Brown on the underside, which is interesting because it looks like orange is the base color, so it feels like the stripe should be on the upside, but they're on the underside, which is fine. Just an interesting observation in terms of styling. Of course, it looks like the connection point here, you got to plug the tail in, of course, is actually completely upside down, so there's also that. But easily rotates into place. That's a pretty good tail length, I think. Like, about as long as the Ceratosaur tail. Better than like the Para, which has a really short tail. Like, I think the Baryonyx need a longer tail too. I don't know. Visually, tail length looks pretty decent to me. Let's see. Quality control. So we have one issue with this figure already off the bat. Not sure how well this shows up on film. If you look at the fin on the back, yeah, there you can see it. This side looks pretty good. This side has a crack, a gap, because the fin placement's not perfectly aligned with the spine. It's slightly offset. And I don't think there was really... Yeah, there was no way to see that from the packaging because it's the side that was away from the front of the packaging is the side where it's recessed there, where it's offset from. So that sucks. It's actually quite noticeable from the one side looking down. You can even see like the orange of the plastic here creeping through like where the crack is. So yeah, that's unfortunate. It's like a separate piece that looks like it's probably just glued into the back of the animal between the two pieces of hard plastic. This is flexible, which is why it's an entirely different piece and material. Rather than having the hard plastic just meet up on the ridge, they put in a flexible ridge, and that's unfortunately made the figure look worse because of the misalignment. As long as I display it from this side, it won't really be noticeable. But that's unfortunate. Other than that, the paint decals are really good on this one. I don't see any issues. I don't see any like plastic flash showing up. So yeah, it's just that one like glaring issue with the spine, which sucks. Yeah, if you have one of these, I'd be interested to know if you've encountered misplacement on the attachment of the sail on the back here. Just curious to know if that's a widespread issue or not. Stability seems all right. Still like figuring out a good way to position his legs, but he's already standing, so it's not bad. Yeah. It's like a good little, walking stance basically. That looks pretty good. That gets his spine pretty level, like it should be for a theropod. Yeah, I'll play around more to like display him. Some of the joints feel a little loose, but not like terminally loose, like it's not gonna fall over. At least not yet. Maybe after sitting in the, you know, heat of the summer or something, it'll be a little bit worse, maybe. But that's a problem for the future. Feet are a little big, probably, specifically the heel. They have that shoes problem where the heel goes all the way back and looks kind of unnatural. You can see how they have like a U-shaped bottom of the foot. But that's just a problem with the entire figure line. That's not a Concavenator issue. And they're probably, yeah, they're no worse than any of the other feet we have in the line, I'd say. No better, no worse. I mean, better than probably like the T-Rexes, which were especially large. In terms of accuracy to what's presented in the film. So this is the Concavenator in the film. I got his head clipped off here. Let's move it over a little bit. So I'd say the head is pretty much in line with what we see in the film, essentially. Shape looks pretty good. You got the ridge in front of the eye. In terms of the spine, the figure here is a little different. I would say that's down to the tail attachment point. The spine is very much a continuous spine from the back to the tail on the Lockwood statue, whereas here we have a very clear division between two separate ridges, and there's no continuation over the tail connection point. But I'm going to mark that up to a limitation of figure design. I'm not going to lose sleep over that one. From this picture, you can see there is some striping on the tail, and this is the kind of picture that makes me think he's supposed to be green and not this very much blue color. However, looking at another like behind the scenes type picture here, I would say this one looks a bit more blue. I'd still say it's like a blue-green as opposed to like strictly blue. But like especially on the head, it looks a little bit more blue. Now, I can't tell if it's the lighting between the two images that really makes the difference. Like, I can't tell if he's supposed to be green and this image is darker, or if he's supposed to be blue and the other image is overexposed, makes him appear green. But certainly the color scheme present in this image roughly resembles the figure, at least, where it's bluish green. I'd say the figure is still probably too blue, but yeah, it's in the ballpark. A hint of counter shading on the belly, and you can definitely see that the fin on the back has got this orange brown color that continues down into the tail, and there's striping in the tail. So the tail in the back half of the animal looks pretty good. Maybe a little dark in the orange on the tail because it looks like it fades out to more of a yellow as it goes further down, but it's hard to tell again. Yeah, hard to say. I see no motivation for the striping on the neck, head, and shoulder. I don't see even a hint of that in the Lockwood image. So I don't know where that's coming from. Like this one, you can see the striping on the tail, and there's nothing going on that neck. Or the eye socket for that matter. The eye socket looks like it's the same color as the rest of the creature. Like, I don't know where that application's coming from. It looks to me like the Concavenator might have 4 fingers in this picture. There's like a thumb there. I don't know if that's accurate. I'm curious about that. It doesn't need to be accurate if it's accurate to the statue, I suppose. So there's that. This figure also looks a lot like one of Mattel's mainline figures. I don't have this figure, but I found a picture of it online. And I was looking at Concavenator source material. So essentially the same design. This very like dark blue with the brown on the fin and the eye socket colored in like a bronze. Very much the same color palette. So whatever motivation they had for this original figure, for the design, the color, and everything, just carries over to the Hammond collection figure. It's just an upscaled version of this original figure. So maybe they had access to like the behind the scenes photos that we haven't seen, or like the original statue or something, and can say that it's more blue than green. I am not sure though. Not sure on that one. I'm curious about Concavenator's actual anatomy. I'm gonna look up its hand. But yeah, 4 fingers is bullshit. There's no motivation for it. Best I can figure is that the statue does have 4 fingers. I think that's true. If we look at this image, yeah, thumb, finger, finger. I think there's a 3rd finger behind here, because you could see that the way these fingers here are arranged, there's no finger that looks like a thumb. But the Concavenator, so the Concavenator does appear to have it in the film and the statue, and it has it here because it has it in the film, in the statue, and that's what this is based on. So can't hold it against the figure going for accuracy in that regard, in that preposterous regard. I don't know what it is with Jurassic World and putting thumbs on dinosaurs. Like the Indominus Rex has thumbs. I don't think we have a good motivation for why I should have a thumb. I don't think there's anything in its genetic sequence that motivates the thumb. Like basically all advanced theropods, once you get past like Coelophytans and Dilophosaur, that section of the very early Triassic family tree, just have 3 fingers or 2, 4 fingers. I guess you could. Ceratosaurus has 4, so the Ceratosaur Abelisaur line has more fingers, but this isn't in that. This is Carcharodontosaurids are derived from allosaurids and like allosauroids or whatever, and they're not. They don't have a 4th digit anymore. As far as I know, it never crops back up outside of Abelisauridae and Ceratosauridae. So yeah. Can't hold it against the figure though. That's just a fucking universal thing going on there. So yeah, I think that's basically everything to cover with the figure here. Yeah, probably one of the worst quality control issues we've seen so far, with the spine on the figure being misaligned. Other than that, the design is fine. I don't have a particular affinity for Concavenator. It's not a creature that's alive in the films. It doesn't really fall in line with film canon. It's not taxidermy. That was a thing that was thrown out and then rescinded. So that's not a thing. So yeah, in terms of the design, it's a good figure, don't get me wrong. But I'm not like super in love with it. I think it's A tier. I think it's definitely A tier. The question becomes, where does it belong in A tier? I think I like the galley more than it because it's a film species, even though the galley design has problems. I think it goes in between galley and raptor here. I think that's where I'm going to put it. It's losing points for like the randomness of it being in the line, which maybe isn't fair, but I mean, this tier ranking is not strictly figure quality. This tier ranking is how I feel about the figure or the species, right? As it's represented in toy form. So the fact that I don't care that much about the species does damage my interest in the toy. Now, if Concavenator was something I really liked, then it would be higher ranked because I like the species. Like if we get a Herrerasaurus figure that doesn't look like shit, it's automatically S tier. Same with Carnotaurus, because I fucking love those two. But I don't have any particular affinity for Concavenator. I don't think I can put it any higher than that. If this was a film creature that I liked the scene of, and the design of the figure was pretty good with what's seen from the film, I'd probably end up putting it in S tier. I don't think it could rank ahead of either die low for me. I mean, I guess it would depend how cool the scene was, and if it had suddenly made me like a creature a lot that I didn't really feel that strongly about before. Yeah, I think there's a world where this could have been an S tier figure if its inclusion was more motivated. Probably low S tier, but yeah, that doesn't exist. So middle of A. I think that's a fair spot. So hopefully we'll be able to do one of these videos soon for Pachycephalosaurus and JP3 Raptor, potentially both the male and the female. The female JP3 Raptor is an Amazon exclusive, so that's gonna be a complete ball ache to get. I do want to get it because like my goal was to collect every single Hammond collection figure this time around. I didn't do that for Amber collection. I kind of regret it. So yeah, I have Muldoon and Arnold behind me. I don't have Hammond and Nedry yet. So I'm getting all the humans, just not reviewing those because who cares? And I picked up the Comic-Con Rex that came with Gennaro. So I have that still in the box off camera. It's over that way roughly. Yeah, currently the thorn in my side is really the Amazon exclusive, which sells out as soon as it comes back in stock, like all the time. So hopefully we'll get that soon. Hopefully we'll be able to check those out. I'm not gonna lie, the JP3 Raptor figures don't look that great. They're fine, but they're just repaints. Maybe a resculpt on the male. I don't remember honestly if he's got the feather crest. So I can't see them ranking very highly, but I still want to review them and include them. Maybe if we can get them both, we'll do it in one video or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's wrap this one up here. Until next time.